The 13th Night. The sun never truly rose the day we left Reykjavik. It hovered at the horizon like a coin balanced on edge, bleeding copper light across Faxaflói Bay, before sinking again into a gray that was not yet evening. In winter, Iceland does not so much experience daylight as endure a prolonged hesitation between darknesses. Aaron arrived precisely at 10. He was in his early 40s, compact, deliberate in movement, with the quiet competence of a man accustomed to dangerous roads. The Land Rover hummed patiently at the curb while I loaded camera cases and a drone pack into the back. "You have good timing," I said. He shrugged. "The weather has bad timing." The forecast predicted scattered snow, but no major system. That meant little here. We were headed toward the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, where I had been commissioned to photograph experimental geothermal housing, sleek, low-slung structures embedded into lava fields like minimalist sculptures. The shoot would last 2 days. "Back before dark," Aaron said as we left the city. "The wind turns tonight." "Storm?" I asked. He hesitated. "Not only storm." I waited. "Tonight is Þrettándinn, the 13th night, the last night of Christmas. Old things move." I laughed lightly. "Old traditions?" "Old things," he repeated. The city thinned behind us. The road cut through white plains broken by jagged black lava ridges. Snow filled the hollows like poured milk. In the distance, mountains floated in haze. It was beautiful in a way that felt unfinished. 2. The road to Hraunfell. We had driven perhaps 90 minutes when I saw it. A narrow gravel track branching westward into a shallow valley, half buried in snow. "Let's take that," I said. Aaron's jaw tightened. "That road is not maintained." "It's probably fine. We have 4-wheel drive." "It goes to Hraunfell." "And?" He kept his eyes on the road. "A farm, abandoned." "Because?" "Because the dead did not stay buried." I laughed lightly. "You're serious?" He nodded once. The valley ahead looked inviting in its emptiness, a bowl of untouched snow framed by dark lava cliffs. I imagined wide shots, drone footage, brutalist isolation. "I'll walk," I said. He pulled over abruptly. "You do not walk there today." "Why?" He checked his watch, not for the time, I sensed, but to measure something else, light perhaps. "On Þrettándinn, the 13th night, the last night of Christmas, old things move." Draugar. The word stirred something I half remembered from folklore books. Norse revenants, not ghosts, not spirits, physical corpses animated by stubborn will. They guarded treasure, crushed livestock, broke bones, and sat on sleepers' chests until ribs cracked. "I don't believe in medieval zombies," I said. "They are not zombies." "What are they?" "People who refuse the grave." That, I decided, was atmospheric enough for photography. I stepped out. Aaron leaned across the seat. "If the wind rises, you return immediately." "I will." "If you see lights where no houses stand, you do not follow." "Aaron?" "If you hear someone call your name and you cannot see them, you do not answer." I stared at him. "You're enjoying this." He did not smile. "I am not." Then, as if sealing something, he said, "Be back before the sun is gone." The sun was already half gone. He drove away. 3. The valley. The silence was absolute. Snow muffled every step. Even my breathing seemed intrusive. The gravel track narrowed into twin frozen ruts, then dissolved entirely beneath drift. The valley walls rose gradually, low ridges of twisted lava, black against white. Moss clung to the stone in brittle green patches, preserved in frost. After an hour, I began to see the ruins, low stone outlines of former buildings, a collapsed sheepfold, a well choked with ice, the skeleton of a tractor frame protruding from drift like the rib cage of something fossilized. No footprints, no recent disturbance. Beyond the ruins, on a slight rise, stood something that did not belong, a concrete structure, rectangular, windowless, brutal in geometry, a bunker. It sat among the 19th century farm ruins like an afterthought from a different century. Snow had drifted against its sides, softening its edges, but it radiated a severity that resisted the landscape. Curiosity eclipsed caution. I approached. 4. The plaque. The bunker door was steel, painted once but now flaking, rust streaked downward like dried blood. To the right of the entrance, bolted into the concrete, was a plaque. The Icelandic was weathered but readable. Here was he grafsettur, and hann hafnaðir jörðinni. Here he was buried, but he rejected the earth. Below, smaller, sá dauði ferðast hratt. The dead travel fast. A familiar phrase, though I could not place its origin in that moment. The air shifted. Temperature dropped sharply, as though I had stepped into shadow, though the sky remained open above me. My phone flickered, signal gone. Wind whispered across the valley floor, then stopped. Total stillness, the kind that precedes violence. 5. The incident of 1968. Later, I would learn what happened here. In 1968, a geological survey team established a temporary monitoring station at Hraunfell. They were investigating unusual seismic readings, localized tremors not tied to tectonic activity. The farm ruins had been abandoned for decades. Official records cited harsh winters and livestock losses. Unofficial accounts spoke of crushed sheep, doors barred from within, and a farmhand found with ribs collapsed inward as if sat upon by something impossibly heavy. The survey team sealed off a subsurface chamber discovered beneath the old farmhouse foundations. They poured concrete. They installed a steel door. Within 3 weeks, 2 men were dead. One crushed in his sleep in the bunkhouse, ribs splintered. One found upright against a wall in the bunker, eyes open, mouth filled with frozen soil. The official cause was structural collapse due to gas buildup. The bunker was sealed permanently. That is what the records say. I did not know any of this then. I only knew the wind had begun to breathe again. 6. The opening. The first gust struck like a physical shove. Snow lifted from the ground and moved sideways. Clouds rolled in from nowhere, low, fast, predatory. I pressed against the bunker door for shelter. It shifted. Inward. Not much, an inch, but enough. Lightning split the sky. In the white flash, the interior was revealed in negative brilliance. Concrete walls, a narrow cot bolted to the floor, and against the far wall, a man seated upright. He was not skeletal. He was preserved, skin pale and taut over bone, beard frosted white, eyes open, watching. Thunder detonated overhead. I staggered back. The door slammed shut with metallic force. Another lightning strike hit the roof. concrete fractured. From within came a sound, not a roar exactly, more a deep resonant inhalation, like stone drawing breath. The wind answered. 7. The Draugr. The storm descended fully. Hail replaced snow, hard pellets that bruised through fabric. Wind erased the valley in white fury. I tried to run but lost orientation within seconds. The ground tilted, or I fell. Weight crushed my chest. I could not breathe. This, I thought dimly, is how it happens. The Draugr sits upon you, breaks ribs, drinks breath. Warmth flooded over me, heavy, solid, breathing, a rasp against my throat. I forced my eyes open. A wolf stood over me, massive, silver gray, fur thick against the storm, eyes pale blue, not animal blue, but glacial. Its forepaws were planted on either side of my shoulders. It lowered its head, teeth pressed against my collar. I felt fabric tear slightly, but no skin broke. Instead, it lay across me fully, shielding me from hail. Its body radiated heat. The storm intensified. Lightning struck the bunker again. Through drifting white, I saw the door bulge outward. Once, twice. On the third strike, the steel split at the hinge. The door tore free. Something emerged. Tall, broad, silhouette wrong at the edges. It moved not with the hesitation of a revived corpse, but with purpose. The wolf rose instantly, positioning itself between me and the figure. It did not snarl. It howled, long, commanding. The sound cut through wind like a blade. From the ridgeline came an answering echo, not one voice, many. The figure advanced. Snow around it did not touch its shoulders. Wind diverted around its frame. Its eyes glowed faintly in the lightning. The wolf stepped forward. The two shapes regarded one another across 10 meters of white chaos. Recognition passed between them, claim and counterclaim. Then headlights appeared in the valley below. Engines, snowmobiles, voices. The figure paused, turned its head toward the sound, and in that fractional hesitation, lightning struck again, directly into the shattered bunker roof. The blast forced the figure backward. Stone collapsed inward. The wolf seized my jacket in its jaws and dragged me, effortlessly, several meters down slope. Then it released me, looked once more toward the ruins, and stepped into the storm. Gone. 8. Rescue. I remember fragments, hands on my shoulders, someone shouting, a beam of light in my eyes. He's alive! Check his ribs! God, look at the bunker! I drifted in and out. At one point I heard, it was sealed. Not sealed enough. Did you see? Don't. They loaded me onto a sled behind a snowmobile. As we descended, I glimpsed the ridge. A tall figure stood there. Not the Draugr, another. Black coat whipping in wind that no longer touched the valley floor. Still, watching. The wolf stood beside him. Then both were gone. 9. The explanation. I awoke in a hospital in Reykjavik. Rib bruising, mild hypothermia, superficial tearing at the collar. No puncture wounds. Our own sat by the window. You saw it, he said quietly. I did not answer. The bunker should not have opened. They sealed it with steel and concrete after the second death. You knew. Everyone local knows. Why didn't you tell me? You would have gone anyway. That was true. Later, a municipal official visited. The bunker collapsed due to lightning strike, structural weakness. And the body inside? There was no body. I saw, you were hypothermic. She smiled. It was practiced. 10. The Protector. On my final night before departure, Aron came to the hotel with something wrapped in cloth. He placed it on the table. A strip of torn fabric, my jacket collar. There were indentations in it, clear impressions of teeth. They found this near the ridge, not where you fell. Meaning? Meaning you were moved. He paused. In old stories, Draugr are territorial. They guard their burial mounds. They do not share. Share what? He looked at me steadily. The living. A silence stretched. The wolf, I said, finally. What was it? Aron's gaze shifted to the window. In some sagas, powerful men did not become Draugr. They commanded them. Commanded? They bound them, used them. And the wolf? Sometimes a protector is not merciful, only possessive. That night I dreamed of the valley. The bunker was gone. In its place stood a burial mound of ancient stone. The wolf lay before it like a sentinel. Behind it stood the tall figure in the black coat, watching the horizon, watching for me. 11. Claim. Weeks later, back in London, I received a package with no return address. Inside was a single sheet of heavy paper, no letterhead, no signature, only a line written in careful hand. You were not meant for him. I do not know what was meant by that. I do know this. When snow falls heavily, I sometimes wake unable to breathe, certain of weight upon my chest. And in the distance, very far off, I hear two howls, one old, one older. And I understand with cold clarity that survival is not always rescue. Sometimes it is acquisition.